Get softer, smoother, and more even-toned skin after just one use with the new Gentle Exfoliating line from Cetaphil. Formulated with a unique triple acid blend that promotes surface skin cell renewal, these gentle chemical exfoliators remove dead skin cells and refine skin's texture while hydrating, resulting in softer, smoother, more even-looking skin. Shop the new Cetaphil Gentle Exfoliating line in the face and body aisles at your local Target store or online at Cetaphil.com.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of I Can Do. I want to begin with a question. Who am I? No, not me. Who am I? I'm going to read something to you. And as I'm reading, I want you to think about who or what am I referring to? Who am I? I am your greatest companion. I'm your greatest helper or heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I am completely at your command. Half the things I do might just as well turn over to me, and I will be able to do them quickly and correctly. Who am I? I am easily managed. You must merely be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I am the servant of all great individuals and, alas, of all failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, though I work with all the precision of a machine plus the intelligence of a human. You may run me for a profit or run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I? I am habit. That's from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens by Sean Covey. His father, Stephen Covey, wrote the best-selling book that's been around for a couple of decades, if not longer, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Earlier this year, my family and I, we read from 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. My son recently turned 13 a few months ago. It's been a great book. Leading into his birthday, me, my wife, and my son, we read the book together. There are seven habits that the book talks about. 3 really deal with the personal victories. Then the next 3 deal with the public victories. And then the last one, as we'll talk later in future episodes, is the idea of sharpening the saw. For a moment, I want to talk about habits. In fact, I want to talk a lot about habits. We are over 250 episodes in with the I Can Do podcast. Thank you so much for your support. If you have listened for a long time, you've noticed that I have shared numerous sermons of mine. I preach full-time at the West Main Church of Christ in Lewisville, Texas. I'm going to be moving those sermons to another podcast that I have, The Bible with Benjamin Lee. You can find The Bible with Benjamin Lee on Spotify, on Apple, where I'm going to also be loading sermons there and other biblical thoughts and ideas in the future. I'm going to be making a little bit of a change with the I Can Do podcast moving forward. Make no mistake about it. I'm always, at some point in time, going to talk about the Bible. Even as we talk about habits, the Bible gives us great wisdom and instruction about godly habits. One example is in Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 and 25. There were some early Christians in the first century who had created the habit of not assembling with the saints. Well, see, we can create bad habits. We can also create good habits. Habits have an impact in every area of our lives, our spiritual walk, our physical conditions, our financial situation. And so I'm going to be talking more about habits on the I Can Do podcast for the foreseeable future. Now, all the previous episodes will continue to be here, so you can listen to my sermons and over 50 guests that have been on the show since the podcast got started. And as I have future guests on the show, Lord willing, I'm going to talk to them more about habits because I'm really diving into this idea of habits even more. Let me take you back a number of years ago when I was working with Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. I actually went through a course called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So the company provided this free educational training. It was highly effective for me. I believe I still have a lot of those habits that I started back then. At the time, I was using the Franklin Covey planner. I have now switched over to the Michael Hyatt Full Focus Planner, I guess probably for the last 4 or 5 years now, but nonetheless, a lot of those thoughts really stuck with me at that time. And so I'm really thankful that I was able to go through that. And recently, I've developed this passion again for all things Franklin Covey, and in particular, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, as we went through this book together as a family. Now, what we did as a family, we would read 10 pages per day, and at the evening time, we would discuss what we learned. And so that gave us some good conversation to really talk about the book and how we could implement these things into our lives. We just bought, my wife and I, we bought the books at Half Price Books. So we got 3 copies there. You can find them there at a very discounted rate. It was fantastic. In fact, it's been so good that we have actually started using the language that's found in the book. So I'll give you an example. There was a situation a couple of nights ago where I did a poor job listening, and my wife helped me to do something as we were talking to our son. And she told me, you need to seek first to understand, then to be understood. And so that helped me to take a step back and to consider what our son was actually trying to say and get across. It made all the difference. So we're going to talk about these 7 habits on this podcast, and I have other books that deal with habits. One of the best-selling books that's out there is by James Clear, Atomic Habits. The more I dive into this, the more I see just how important habits really are. Maybe we're oversimplifying this, but habits really will make or break you. From a spiritual standpoint, there are godly habits, disciplines that we need to grow in, whether it's our Bible reading, whether it's prayer. I think about Daniel in the book of Daniel. He would pray 3 times a day. He had a set time where he would pray. Well, he developed a routine. He developed habits. The things that have held me back as I look at my life and just considering things of where I could be and different choices that I've made often comes back down to habits. And so habits become really important. So think about this. We're already in the month of October. What is a common theme for many people, maybe in America more, but I don't know, maybe it's around the world, during the last 3 or 4 months of the year? Weight gain, habits. So during this time of year, I read an article years ago saying September 1st would be the lightest we would weigh the rest of the year. Sometimes that's true. Now, last year I lost, I think, about 9 pounds during the holiday season. How and why? Well, I had some health issues, and how was because I was training for a marathon. So I was on a training schedule, which forced me to develop a habit and a habit of following through so that I could be ready for that race December 16th, 2023, which, thank the Lord, I was able to finish. So when you think about weight gain during the winter months, most of that just comes back to habits, good habits, poor habits, setting aside the habits that we've had in place all year because the weather changes, emotions change, holiday season now is here. Habits will make or break us. So as we move forward with this habits, we get to decide what kind of habits do we actually want? What do we need? What has worked well? A couple of action items I'm going to encourage you to do. Number one, take the time this week to really start thinking about your daily habits. Now, you already have them. You may not even be thinking about them, but we have habits of what we do when we wake up in the morning. We have probably the habit of driving the same route to work. We often get in the same routine or habits of what we eat for breakfast and maybe even what we eat for lunch. Some people like to keep it really simple. I was talking to a brother. He said, I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day for lunch. Well, he's created that habit. That's okay. We have a lot of habits that we don't even think about because we just do them, I'm snapping my fingers here, automatically. That's a good thing, but that can also be a bad thing if we're not aware of some other habits or habits that we have that are not always beneficial. So as we think more about habits, I want you to start evaluating your current habits. What habits do you have? What habits might you want to improve upon? And we'll dive into this even more next week. I appreciate your support. Remember, all future sermons are going to be moved over to the Bible with Benjamin Lee podcast. And we're going to start focusing more on the I Can Do podcast, solely on the subject of habits, building better habits, getting rid of bad habits, learning from others about habits that can help us to become the type of people that we so desire to be. Take care and God bless.